Welcome to Fanatics Live, where we virtually connect you with your favorite stars and athletes right at home. Tonight, we will be meeting with fans, signing autographs, and engaging in live Q&A. Now, let's welcome our host.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Fanatics Live, where we are all about bringing your favorite athletes to you right at home. Tonight's show is going to be a lot of fun, but before we get started, I want to let you know that it is brought to you by the FanCash Rewards Card by Fanatics. As a FanCash Rewards card holder, you receive benefits and perks, including access to unforgettable experiences with athletes, earn 6% fan cash on every purchase, exclusive deals, offers, and much more. Tonight, we are focusing on the beautiful game of baseball and dominant starting pitching as we get set to welcome in Andy Pettitte. Andy spent 18 seasons in the big leagues, most of those in a Yankees uniform. He was a part of the core four who helped New York win 4 championships in the late 90s. He then went on to win a 5th World Series with the Yankees in 2009. He still holds the MLB record for most postseason wins with 19. His number has been retired by the Yankees, and he is one of the Yankee Greats honored at Monument Park inside Yankee Stadium. Without further ado, let's welcome in Andy Pettitte.
Hello,
Andy,
how are you doing, Jessica?
I'm great. How are you?
Doing good, doing good.
Awesome. Thank you so much for spending some time with us tonight. We've got some fans.
Bet.
We've got fans who are so excited about asking you a few questions, but before we get to their questions, I actually have a few of my own. You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, let's jump right in. This is one question that I always love asking pitchers, whether they're a starting pitcher or a guy that comes out of the bullpen. So many of us will never know what it's like to step on a big league mound. And I'm curious if you can just kind of take us inside, what was going through your head every time you stepped onto a mound, especially in the postseason.
Oh man, don't get beat up tonight. keep the runs at a minimum is really try to figure out a way to get through it. But it really is, especially in the postseason. It's nerve wracking. I mean, there's just so much hoopla around New York and the fan base, and then obviously just the pressure we put on ourselves as an organization to win championships there. It was a lot of pressure, and you just kind of get used to it. I came up in New York with the Yankees and signed with them when I was 19 years old, so you kind of get used to seeing what it's like as you're in the minors and coming up through it. And then when you experience at a young age like I did, it helped me obviously to be able to cope with it later in my career. I didn't cope with it great as a young player, a la 1996. Our first World Series got knocked out in, I think, the 3rd inning of our first World Series game in Game 1, and so didn't do a great job of handling it then. But it's so fun, right? It's a dream to be able to get to the big leagues, but then to be able to play in the postseason with the New York Yankees. It's just I felt very blessed. Is really just the best way I could explain it.
You think about storied franchises in Major League Baseball. The teams that come to mind are the Dodgers and the Cubs and the Red Sox and, of course, the Yankees. For you, how special was it to wear the pinstripes, especially knowing that uniform had so much history behind it?
It was very special. I mean, just be honest, growing up, I really wasn't a huge baseball fan. I watched the Chicago Cubs. I'd come home from school and they'd be on TV because all they had was day games, and so, I wasn't a huge baseball fan, but then obviously the Yankees signed me. And then when you go to spring training, they do such a great job of bringing all the greats back, and you get to see Whitey Ford and you get to see Yogi Berra and, Joe DiMaggio and guys like that. And Hoyt Wilhelm, Hall of Fame knuckleballer, was my pitching coach in my first year in the minor league. So you start learning and you understand the history and you realize how much it means. And then so really it just kind of gets inbred in you as a minor leaguer. And so it made it extremely special to go up and to play there, to win championships, and then to be able to do some of the great things that I had the opportunity to do and be able to play there for as many years as I did. It was just awesome to be kind of linked with some of those great players from the past.
Taking a look around the league nowadays, there are so many dominant pitchers, whether it's starting pitchers, whether it's guys that come out of the bullpen, obviously a Clayton Kershaw, a Jacob deGrom, a Steven Strasburg. I mean, there's so much talent. Who do you enjoy watching pitch right now?
Well, you mentioned one of them. I'm kind of fond of lefties since I'm a lefty. Of course, I love watching Clayton, and just a great guy, and so happy for him being able to get that championship last year. And then, of course, I'm a little biased towards the Yankees. I still spend a lot of time with them and worked with them, and so love watching Garrett Cole. Just the power, the precision, just the way this guy works is absolutely incredible. And then also now that CC's out of the game, because I used to love watching CC pitch, and now that he's retired, I got to watch another lefty in the Yankees rotation there, Jordan Montgomery. So enjoy watching him work. And those are kind of the guys. I'm really busy. I coach high school baseball, have kids playing college ball. So I'm really spending a lot of time on the baseball field, a lot of times the same time the Yankees are playing. So most of my Yankee watching right now and baseball watching is going on highlights mostly.
I'm with you on Kershaw. It was so pure to watch him celebrate winning a World Series last year after all those years. All right, time now to welcome in some fans who are so excited about getting the opportunity to ask some questions. And every fan that's asking a question tonight is going to go home with an awesome autograph photo of you with that patented stare that you did so well anytime that you would take the mound. So I know fans are definitely going to enjoy that. And we're going to kick things off with Tanisha and her son, Eamon. They're from Ridgefield Park, New Jersey. Tanisha became a baseball fan in 1998. She said that she watched you throw a 98-mile-per-hour fastball, and she was hooked after that. I love that. I love that connection. 1998, 98-mile-per-hour fastball.
Yeah.
She thinks the Core Four is one of the greatest groups of players of all time. And she grew up, how about this? She grew up a Mets fan watching games with her dad, but then it was you who actually turned her into a Yankees fan. So you awesome. Flipped one. You flipped one,
there you
Andy.
Go. Good deal. That's hard to do. That's hard to do in New York.
It's very hard. Very hard. So let's welcome in Tanisha and her son, Eamon.
All righty.
How are you, Andy?
Hi, Andy. It's so nice to meet you.
Well, thank you. It's nice to meet you. How you doing?
We're doing well. Thank you. How are you?
I'm doing good. Doing good. Just like I said, a lot of baseball going on in my life. I coach high school baseball. My son's playing baseball up in at Dallas Baptist up in Dallas, and so we travel a lot up there to go watch him play his baseball season. So really, it's baseball.
That's awesome.
That's right. That's how it should be.
Our question to you is: when you started playing baseball, did you look up to anybody in particular, and did you go for any records? Like, did you try to break any records while you were playing?
So I guess I did. I would have to say I was a big fan of Nolan Ryan. Obviously, growing up in I was born in Baton Rouge, but I moved to Texas when I was in 5th grade. So I think I was 10 or 11 years old. So once I got to Texas, I started playing baseball because when I was in Baton Rouge, I played softball when I lived in Louisiana. And so when my family moved me to Deer Park, Texas, started playing baseball. And so, Nolan Ryan, obviously in Texas was just it, and so I loved watching him if I had a chance. I also loved watching Roger. I got a chance to play with Roger Clemens, but he's 10 years older than me. So before I got to the league, he was already in the league and playing. He's a Houstonian. And so kind of, those roots and watching him. So those were two people that I would say that as a young man, I enjoyed watching play. And then as far as records, I really never set out to think that, I was going to break any records or try to break any records. Of course, once I start playing my career and I get into my career and you start getting to the postseason and you start, spending so many times, so many years with the Yankees, I did start, people started talking to me about how I was getting close to Whitey Ford's Yankee strikeout records, and so then you kind of start saying, well, man, I think I'm going to be able to play long enough. If I stay healthy, I can kind of break that record, and then of course the postseason record, the wins record, you start getting, so many opportunities to make starts in the postseason like I did, and had a chance to break John Smoltz's win record. He held it at the time that I broke it. And so I never really thought about it, but then if you're to answer that question, once I started getting close to a few of those, the media will start bringing it up to you, and sports writers will start asking you, and then all of a sudden you really can't help but kind of think about it. It's like, man, it's pretty cool. I could maybe pass Whitey Ford this year if I play another season, and stuff like that. So wasn't a big focus of mine, but you definitely start thinking about it when you start approaching some of those. In New York, they always let you know when you're playing certain records or whatever. So exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Passionate fans in New York for sure. All right, Andy is going to autograph one of those photographs for you, and it looks like you guys are going to be able to add that to the cool gear that you already have. I love it.
A little bit of it.
Oh, just a little bit of it. So do you have a spot? Do you have a spot where you put all of the memorabilia up?
It's almost like a shrine. I mean, he's one of the best pitchers to ever play the game of baseball, and it was always good watching him play. From the time that I was little, he started in '98. I was 3 years old.
No, he started in '96.
Well, '96.
'95.
When I was born.
There you go. See, good night. Look at these gray hair. I'm getting old, man. Remind you were born then. Hey, look at this hair.
Oh my God! Thank you so much.
Thank you, Andy.
Thank you so much, Andy, for the game. As a matter of fact, when your number was retired, we were at the stadium with my uncle.
Oh, awesome!
I brought my uncle for the first time to the stadium, the new stadium, and he got to shake Jared's hand.
Oh, awesome! Well, good deal.
So you're
very
cool.
Great.
Game.
That's very cool. Thank
Lots
you. That
of
was a
good
special
stuff.
day.
All right, thank you, Tanisha and Eamon, so much. We hope you enjoyed that
Good
photograph.
job.
Thank you
Take it
so
easy.
All right.
much.
God bless you guys.
God bless
Same to
you.
you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Next up, we have Chris. Chris is from Redlands, California, and he had the opportunity to join the show because he is actually a Fan Cash Rewards card holder. So he's got one of these awesome cards from Fanatics right here. He also thinks the Core Four is one of the greatest groups of players of all time. He said that he loves Old Yankee Stadium and New Yankee Stadium equally, and he remembers Little League nights as a kid, going and playing some baseball and then going and getting Carvel ice cream afterwards. I love that memory. Baseball and ice cream. You can't beat that. Let's welcome in Chris.
Hey, Andy. It's exciting to meet you virtually. Nice to meet you.
Hey, Chris. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing excellent, my friend. So I was born and raised in New York, but I live in California. So that New York fan, that piece of me can't go away. Die hard forever. So there you go.
There you go. Hey, when we come out to California, there's always huge crowds out there, and we come and played out there. So it's awesome. It always was fun to go out there.
Excellent. Well, thank you for taking the time to meet with some of your biggest fans. My question to you is, your buddy CC Sabathia made it known that you were not only a very good friend, I know you guys are really tight, but a mentor to him as well. Especially important to turn to him for advice as he aged as a pitcher and his velocity diminished like most pitchers do. Can you please share with us one or two pieces of advice you gave CC to help him reinvent himself as a pitcher as he got in his later pitching years?
Well, so me and C we're close, and what a great teammate, and what fun I had playing with that guy. He really he kept me young in my old age there whenever I was playing and stuff. And so the advice that I think I gave CC, I'm trying to think, of course he started, I played with him, taught him a little bit of the grip of my cutter, and it took him a little while to figure it out, right? I mean, he had to, like you said, he had to reinvent himself. It took him several years, and I got to give him a lot of credit. I mean, he battled through a couple of really tough years and trying to figure out how to pitch without velocity like he had. He was such a power pitcher. It is tough to do, and it just shows what a great competitor, what a great athlete, how great CC's mind works to be able to do and pitch at a high level like he did, and completely turning his game around, And so really and truly, I really don't know if there's one exact piece of advice that I did to kind of stand out. I know we talked pitching an awful lot we talked a lot about how to set guys up, what to do with the cutter, how effective it could be in certain situations. And of course, you have to go out there and use it and start figuring out the sequences. So I don't really know if there's, one really piece of advice that kind of stood out to me that I can just kind of tell you offhand that I did for him. It was more of just, I think, just building blocks of years of us just talking and really just trying to always, what I did do is just always try to encourage him, even in the down years. You just try, because there's so many things that kind of go through your mind and, hey, can I even get this done anymore and stuff like that. And you got to have positive people in your life to kind of keep you moving forward. And because it's a beat down sometimes, especially playing in New York, it can be awfully tough, the high expectations, And so really just, try to build him up, keep him moving forward and just telling him how great he is. And hopefully he'll start believing it. And the power of belief is amazing. And I think he did. And he started being able to use the cutter. He started seeing a lot of success with it. And then just a lot of things just happened from there for him.
Well, clearly it worked. I was there for his last game when he was pulled off the mound, and it was tough for him to come off, but clearly you were a big help to him. I know you guys are good friends, so thank you for sharing that with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you bet. Love CC to death, and he's been a good friend.
Good stuff, Chris. Putting in some of that research. That's an awesome question.
Exactly.
You're going to be getting one of those autographed photos as well from Andy. So what do you think you're going to do with that autograph photo, Chris?
Well, the struggle is going to be, my wife calls it the obsession of my office. Where do I put it? I'm running out of room at this point, and I won't spin you around to look at everything in my office, but we'll find a place for it. Maybe, over the mantle, right? My wife's shaking her head no right now. But
hey, but running out of room for it, though, that means you've got a pretty legit collection. Do you have a favorite piece?
That's a good problem to have. Yeah. Well, right behind me, this is my Core 4 baseball collection set. So that's one of them. I got Andy's glove here, and this is 2007 from my first game in the old Yankee Stadium, and that's one of the magazines from the stadium. So there you go.
Oh, 2007. Wow. Chris, I see that picture back there of my stare. I think you're going to get another one.
I love it.
A little bit bigger, though.
Iconic stare. Thank you, Andy, very much. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
That's awesome. Chris, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much.
Chris, nice to meet you, man. Take care.
And again, Chris had the opportunity to join the show because he is a Fan Cash Rewards card holder. So we hope that he had a great experience. Thank you so much, Chris, for joining us. And we're going to tell you a little bit more about this card in just a little bit. Now, we have one more question from a fan. It's from Lance. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to join us live, but he is tuning in. So he is going to be able to see you answer his question, Andy. He became an Andy Pettitte fan during your very first season. So he's been a huge fan for a while. He says that he actually prefers new Yankee Stadium to old Yankee Stadium. He grew up playing baseball and attending spring training games in Arizona. He's actually in Tucson, Arizona. A ton of West Coast teams playing spring training games out in Arizona for sure. And he wants to know, of the 5 World Series championships that you won, which, by the way, is amazing because some guys go their whole career and don't even win one World Series. So of the 5 World Series championships you won, which one meant the most to you and why?
Well, I'm asked that question an awful lot, so I'm not going to just say one. I'm going to say 2, okay? So obviously 1996 is a favorite. Your first time to win a championship, that's absolutely amazing. So that's definitely one of my favorites. But also, I got to throw 2009 in there also, just because we had that stretch from 2000. Where we weren't able to get it done. We went to the World Series several times. We were older. A group of us were up in, I was in my, I think, late 30s at that time now. And suppose we weren't going to be able to win it again. And we were too old to get it done. And then, of course, first year at the new Yankee Stadium, to be able to win a championship that first year was extremely special. So those, I have to always say those 2, obviously the first and the last were my favorites for sure.
Yeah, I'm sure everyone is special for their own unique reasons, but it's cool to know that those were the two that meant the most to you. Now we're going to take a few questions from fans on social media. And by the way, all of you watching out there, be sure to give Fanatics a follow on Instagram so that you can be a part of the conversation. And Andy, I think you are autographing that picture right now. We're going to make sure that we definitely get that in because we want to make sure that Lance gets his autographed photo.
Yes, sir. Here you go, Lance.
There it is, Lance.
Right there.
Awesome. So yes, Lance, you are going to be able to put that up on your wall, and I'm sure that is going to mean a ton to him. So I'm glad that we were able to get that question in for him. So for our social media questions, we're actually going to kick things off with a question from John. He would love to know, how did you stay healthy for so long? What was your arm care routine in particular?
Well, I feel like that I was very blessed, obviously, to be able to stay healthy. So, a lot of times the fans don't really know what's going on behind the scenes, and I definitely had a lot of elbow issues, but I was able to continue to stay on the mound for the most part through my Yankee years. And definitely dealt with, some issues, but I was relatively healthy. I had to have one surgery in 2004. My first start actually as a Houston Astro. I hurt my elbow and popped the tendon in my elbow, and I had to have surgery for that. But other than that, it didn't have any issues at all. So very fortunate about that. As far as how did I, take care of myself for my arm care, man, the Yankees and some of these other teams, but the Yankees especially do such a great job of putting amazing people around us to take care of us. And so, so our training staff obviously was great, but we had a massage therapist that traveled with us. It took so much care, great care of us. We had, later in my career, we had ART guys, which is absolutely amazing. I'd never had done that before, and kind of like dry needling and stuff like that to kind of, if you have stuff that's locked up, they can really give you relief quick. And early in my career, you didn't have anything like that. I mean, if you went to the trainer's room, the guys were ripping on you saying, dude, what are you doing? Get out of, you're a wimp, get out of the training room, and stuff like that. So just really and truly you learn a good routine of your shoulder exercises. You realize that, for me, I didn't need to throw as hard each and every single day, and you kind of figure out the intensity level that you need to work at each and every day to get ready for every fifth day for your start. So those are some of the things I think that, were biggest things that kind of kept me on the field with my arm.
Yeah, baseball is so much about routine, and I can't even imagine the routine that guys go through to make sure that they keep themselves in peak condition, especially considering the mental and physical wear and tear that a 162 game schedule can take on you. Our next question comes from Natasha.
Hi Andy, I'm Natasha, this is Wade, and we wanted to ask you a question. Growing up, who inspired you to play baseball? Who was one of the greats to you?
Who inspired me to play baseball? I probably would say, like I kind of was talking about this a little bit earlier. I was born in Baton Rouge, raised there until I was in 5th grade, and I really played softball. Didn't really play baseball as a young kid, and so we moved to Texas, Deer Park, Texas, and my dad really put me in baseball. So he kind of inspired me to kind of, hey, let's see what this baseball is all about, And of course, we get to Houston, Texas, and I'd mentioned Nolan Ryan was one of my favorites. My dad bought every book, every video that Nolan Ryan had out, and kind of tried to make me kind of, just so he can know mechanics and stuff like that, and just see if I was doing things the right way and stuff. So my dad really inspired me to probably start playing baseball. And then some of the greats to me, of course, just I've got to kind of throw out some of the Yankees, greats that I kind of grew up just really loving. And of course, Whitey Ford, Ron Guidry. I just got to know those guys, and they're left-handed pitchers, and they came before me and were great friends to me and mentors to me. And so those are a few that I throw out there. And then, of course, just as a young kid growing up, enjoyed watching Roger Clemens and Nolan Ryan pitch. Those guys were Houston players and Houston pitchers, and obviously I wasn't a power pitcher like that, but just big, power pitchers. You love watching guys strike people out. And so I enjoyed watching those two guys. Those were two guys that were greats to me whenever I was growing up.
I've actually got an interesting question that I'm going to ask you about strikeouts in just a little bit in our rapid fire round. That's coming up in just a moment. But first, let's hear a word from our sponsor.
Introducing the FanCash Rewards Credit Card by Fanatics. Earn 6% FanCash when you shop with your card on Fanatics.com with exclusive cardholder perks and 6-month special financing on purchases of $150 or more. Text now to apply or go to Fanatics.com.
Tonight's show is brought to you by the FanCash Rewards Card by Fanatics. For more information on exclusive perks and benefits or how to sign up, you can head over to Fanatics.com or you can text that number at the bottom of your screen, 94323. Text that to Fanatics to apply. All right, now we are going to finish things off with a fun rapid fire session. I am going to ask you a question and I want you to just respond with the first thing that comes to mind. You ready?
Ready.
All right, let's do this. Favorite pitch to throw?
Cutter.
Oh, I like it. What was the toughest pitch to master?
Change up.
See, I love circle change is one of my favorites. I always love watching guys practice the grip for that. More satisfying. Now, being a lefty, you had a great pickoff move over at first base. So what is more satisfying? Picking off a runner at first base or getting a strikeout?
Picking off a runner.
I love it because I would have thought that a pitcher would say a strikeout, but picking off a runner at first base. All right.
It's very, very gratifying.
Oh, I bet. Something non-sports related that you're very competitive with.
Board games, Monopoly, my family.
So do you buy everything when you first land on it, or do you kind of strategize with Monopoly what you want to purchase?
I try to strategize, but I'm not very good.
I know. I always end up just buying everything. I'm like, yes, sold. I will take it. Favorite Cajun style meal?
Just boiled crawfish.
Okay. All right. Favorite ballpark to pitch in that wasn't Yankee Stadium?
Seattle, Safeco Field.
Okay. I have been there before. That's a good one. New York City tourist attraction that you secretly kind of enjoy?
Broadway.
Love it. Slice of New York pizza or ballpark hot dog?
Pizza.
You mentioned your son is a pitcher playing for Dallas Baptist, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So what is more nerve-wracking, taking the mound yourself or being a parent in the stands watching your son pitch?
Oh, for sure being a parent in the stands watching my son pitch. It's terrible. I can't watch half the time.
I think I actually asked Doc Rivers one time that very same question. He was watching his son in a high school basketball tournament. And I'm like, all right, coach, what's more nerve-wracking, being a coach or watching your son? And he said, absolutely watching my son. So I think that's probably the same for every parent.
It's terrible.
All right, last one. Give me a second for the setup. On a scale of 1 to 10, rate my stare.
Jessica, I got to give you about a 5. You got to go a little lower. You got to go a little lower. There we go. There's a 10 right there. There you go.
I thank you for being kind because we actually all know that it's probably like a 1-2 at best. So
no, that was good. when you lowered the head, it was good.
That's what makes it, right? You gotta lower the head. You gotta really get the stare going. Andy, thank you so much for the time. This was so much fun, just sharing not only your baseball memories, but getting your thoughts on the game today. Thank you so much for signing the autographs and the pictures. I hope all the fans enjoy them. This was really a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
You bet. It's awesome. Great to be here with you guys.
Awesome. There he goes, Andy Pettitte, part of the core four that had so much success for the New York Yankees. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. We do want to remind you that we have a couple of awesome shows that are still coming up later on in the month. On April 20th, former New York Giants quarterback Phil Simms. He is going to be joining us on Fanatics Live. Phil Simms spending 15 seasons in the Big Apple. And then on April 21st, we're going to switch it over to hockey. It's the Hall of Fame goaltender Martin Brodeur, who of course won 3 Stanley Cup championships with the New Jersey Devils. So lots of good shows coming up. Be sure to tune in. For more information on how you can get involved, head over to Fanatics Live. Have a good night, and we will see you next time.